All right. So today we're talking follow-up systems. We're translating your raw smarts into profitable greatness. So our daily goal needs to be just changing others' perspectives, right? By showing them how much we care through our actions. Actions, everything. Follow-up systems. Well, these got kind of small. Follow-up systems, though. We're going to go through the realistic systems for follow-up. Lead qualifying, conversion connection cache, quit wasting your time and frustrating yourself, knowing the process and following it, 5 steps to transformation and changing your paradigm. Hopefully we have them in the correct order because I was messing with things again this morning. I can't help myself. So, realistic systems for follow-up. These things that you need to determine for yourself what's going to work for you, right? What are you willing to use on a daily basis? If you're not willing to use it on a daily basis, it's worthless. It doesn't do you any good. So for me, the CRMs that send me reminders and things, I have not been effective with because I guess my age, I haven't used them. And when I did use them, it's like they fall to the wayside. When I got busy, I didn't keep up. I've always kept up with my phone. So for me, when I'm driving, is my phone call time. Otherwise, you're just wasting time and you're getting frustrated behind the wheel by the drivers that are here from up north right now that don't know what they're doing. And they're trying to turn right out of the left turn lane. All these things that drive you nuts. But anyway, you need to know your method and what's going to work for you. The only way to know your method is to try some and see what works for you. But before you try some, write down what you're going to try and do. In other words, if I'm doing it, it's going to be right here. I still do this a lot, even though there's so many options available. So you just got to figure out what you're going to use to work you through managing the sales process, the ongoing interactions, the customer service, and the thing that I've noticed that I tend to fail with sometimes is just keeping in touch. Even though most of the folks we work with end up becoming friends, and I do, there are plenty over the years that I haven't. And even when we're doing Christmas cards, we notice these things. And it's like, oh, geez, I need to go back through some. So our app files has really helped me a lot because if we put the addresses in where sellers are moving, which might be important, it helps you know what's going on and where the leads come from, right? All these various things. So some of our agents are using Mondays, spreadsheets, some just use their phones, which is not as effective, especially for drip campaigns, but that's me. Our MLS has been built, and it has a CRM in it. We have Boomtown, Top Producer, Wise Agent, HubSpot. I've used this one. I've used this one. I've tried this one. For some crazy reason, I go back to this one. In sales, let's talk about sales for a minute. Do people want a text or do they want to hear your voice?
Most phone call.
Yeah,
Had a
most.
couple that are
Okay.
text.
But it depends, right? You have to ask them, which would they prefer that you use? And then the bottom line is you can, if they say, oh, just text me, just email me, you can do that for a week or so, maybe even 3 weeks. At some point, you got to pick up the phone and say, hey, how's it going? I've been sending you stuff. Is it what you were looking for? I want to make sure I'm on the right page because I'm out here working hard for you. People sometimes think that everything's just automated, which a lot of it is. But when we follow up with a phone call like that, they're going, oh man, I didn't even open them up. I'm so sorry. I'll get on that. Yeah, do you still own a house? These kind of things. So you need to know those things. So the takeaway, data organized and presented by a CRM platform leads to better understanding of customers, and this leads to better messaging and outreach, much of which can be done through automation, and it helps you offer better customer service. As an agent, using a CRM of some sort will help you close more deals and keep your leads on track, right? All right, good to know. So now we get to how to qualify a lead. This doesn't matter whether it's a buyer or seller, right? You want to connect with them. So if you get, say you get on an airplane, you sit down beside somebody. Do you sit there and are you quiet and just put headsets on and that's it? Some people do. And it depends. I mean, and if you've been fighting with the wife and the kids have been horrific, and one of them threw up on you 10 minutes ago, you're going, I need some quiet time. But on the other hand, there's plenty of people that sit down and want to chat. And if they say, hey, how you doing? It's a great opportunity to say, pretty well. I'm a real estate agent. Our market's been a little wonky, but I'm doing great. It's just, boy, it takes a lot of work these days. What do you do? And just connect. So the more questions you ask other people, by the time they get off the plane, they're going to think, well, that was the best flight I've ever had. I really enjoyed that conversation. But if you don't get their contact or a business card or something, and then follow up, you lose them. So when you're qualifying leads, these are typically people that are going to have called you or you're calling them. It can just be a cold call. But again, you're trying to find out about them and help them along. So you need to have a structured conversation. A lot of people don't think about it, but this is true in our marriages and relationships, period. Structured conversations and sales is part of every day, because if I want to go boating and Val wants to go shopping and I want Val to go boating with me, sometimes I've got to sell her on the idea that, hey, you can do that when I'm not here. How about if we, right? It's just it's an approach. So then, if they don't share personal information, ask gently, as you'd like to be asked. What do you do for fun? And people look at you like, what? Sports, golf, fish, boating. What do you like to do? And get them talking. And yep, with some ladies, it's going to be shopping. It's like, okay, some guys, I just don't relate to them. If I go to a party and somebody doesn't fish, I'm just kind of confused as to what to talk about. What kind of lifestyle are you after? These are the things. And same thing, if people don't have kids, it's harder to connect for me too, because I'm absolutely in love with my kids, right? So what kind of work do you do? How long have you been doing that? I don't know much about that line of work. What's it like? I ask that question all the time and it's very true. I mean, I'm not just messing around. Somebody works on an oil platform. Whoa, that's cool. How long do you spend offshore? Do they fly you back? How's that work? And you'll get all kinds of information. And I'm working with a buyer right now that's what they do.
Wow.
Except they're on the higher level of that, where they fly in, check out the platforms, and fly out. But they're there for quite some time. Very cool. And I guess the fishing is outstanding off of those things. Anyway, not that I would ask fishing questions. How many family members? What's their plan to relocate? What's their time plan? What are they looking for? You've spoken with any lenders yet? This is if we're really getting into, you're talking with somebody straight about buying and selling, right? You've already qualified them now. And if no, just can I send you some local informations to help you and figure out your qualifications? You'll just be working directly with them. And I'm just here to, be your 411, push you in the right direction. And speaking of which, this is one of my buyers, which I will call back in just a few. So you're getting them to talk about themselves, and you will win a client instead of just a sales lead, right? Then how many of our client profile questions can you get answered without sounding like a script? You need to know them. So go to App Files, pull up your blank forms, in blank forms, client profile. Go over your buyer broker agreement. These are important. Those are things we have to have done. And, with that one is now our buyer brokerage agreement, right? This thing's huge because this isn't just our disclosure for our office now. This is the legality of it, that we need to have the buyer brokerage compensation agreement attached. And folks need to know it. You need to know how to share it in a positive light. And knowing in the back of our minds, it's helping us do better, not worse. And a lot of people I talk to, agents-wise, are still scared to death of it, don't know how to present it. And, I think that's a shame, because there are so many positive ways. So remember, your scripts are formats. They're guides, not meant to be read like a script, like your AI. They're metaphors, they're analogies, they're things to get you going, right? All right. Consistent follow-up is everything. App Files has a script there. Follow up. This is really a challenge. What are you looking for? Follow up. Duh. Okay, so just go in there and put in follow up and watch what comes up. Your subconscious mind works under a universal law, whether you realize it or not. What a man can conceive and believe, all these things. It's interesting. Can you do a 4-minute mile? I know I'm never going to do that, but I can in a car. It's about your attitude and effort. We need to visualize your big picture, right? Wildly impossible goals. We need to keep those in front of us. We need to think about them, because we're going to have ups and downs in this business. So if your phone's not ringing right now, we've got to look at what have I done to make my phone ring year after year? Well, you know what? If your phone's not ringing, you use it to call other people. Ring their phones, say hello, talk to people. It's amazing how when you're just talking to folks, and initially it can just be if you haven't talked to them for a while, don't make it a business call. That first call is a, hey, how you doing, man? Haven't talked to you in a bit. And they'll even ask you, oh, are you good? Are you still in real estate? Yeah. Are you still in, what do you do? That's right. He's still on the oil rig. So we need to target our messages to those we're trying to reach and be consistent, right? And the universal sales proposition, that's a big thing. And this is Craig Proctor's the one I had trained on this through way back in the day. And you know, I've tried a number of them. You know, if your home doesn't sell in 90 days, I'll buy it. Those sorts of things. Of course, those come with caveats, guys, the big ones. That means you price it. And if you're pricing it, can you price a home at a price that it'll sell in 90 days, even in this market? Of course. So that would be the price point that is required. Or if you want to put it at this price, I can't tell you that I'm going to buy it at that kind of price, but we're going to find somebody else that'll pay more than I could. And voila. But, you know, it's just these various things that you offer. You know, if I don't sell it in 90 days, I work for free. Yeah, that's a scary one too. So anything that you commit to, you need to make sure you're willing to do. Okay. So conversion, connection, cash. This is just the thought process and what goes on behind it, right? So again, going to AppFiles, building successful relationships. You need to use a system, know the type of people you're working for, speaking with, behavior styles. There's so much on the internet about this and things that you need to know. We've taught about these things, and it's just so important to know. You know, is somebody just, you know, laid back, easy to get along with? Yep, you show me what you think I should have, and okay. Or are they expressive? Wow, I can't wait. Let's see this house. Oh my gosh, every house I go in is the best one I've ever seen in my life. That's that kind of thing, right? Analytical. I'll call them right back. But these are folks that want to know absolutely everything there is to know about a property or what you're doing, and or about your buyer broker's compensation agreement. What's that really mean? How's this work? Well, I read this and it says this. It's like, yes, it does, but it also says this. You need to know your forms. You need to know what you're doing. And or the driver personality, which I tend to fall into a lot, which is what's the bottom line? Look, I got to go to buy a car. I'm not interested in a whole lot of the details. I'm not interested in what the payment is. What is the price of the car? And some people are like, hey, that's great that you bought all your comps and everything to this meeting about listing my home. What do you think I should sell it for? What do you think that price should be? Where do I sign?
Yep.
Let them get on with it, because otherwise you're just going to bore them. But one thing I do stop everybody with is, here's what I'll do. You need to know this. We need to slow down enough for you to at least know what I'm going to do for your sale. So if it doesn't sell, you know I've done everything that I said I would do. Please keep this at the first and front of your mind. Okay? Important things. Opportunities to convert into conversations, right? We want conversations. So these things talk about you'll need more quickly to key in on opportunities as they present themselves. Strike while the iron's hot. That would be the easy way to say that one. If somebody wants to do something, I mean, we get exhausted in this work too, and they call you at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night. Don't answer the phone if you don't want to work at that time of night, right? You call them back the next morning and go, hey, sorry I missed your call. I'm looking forward to working with you. What's going on? Oh, good. Let's do that today. You know, I showed a house Thanksgiving morning, as I knew everybody'd be asleep. And folks reached out to me the day before and said, hey, we'd like to see this house down around the corner from our house. Can you show it to us? And I'm like, yeah. When do you want to see it? I'm like, well, you know, maybe Friday. And I'm like, how about tomorrow morning? And they're like, Thanksgiving morning? I'm like, yeah, first thing in the morning. I don't have anything going on. Everybody's going to be asleep. I'll be up. And they're like, let's do it. So that's what we did. And we wrote an offer on it. So it's fun the way these things work, but it's timing with people, and you need to know the people, right? So as you're having these conversations, you need to get to know them better, and you need to know it's about relationships. You got to be likable. You don't yell at buyers and sellers. That's a terrible thing, any more than you should be yelling at your spouse or others in your life. It doesn't help with a darn thing. We need to make sure that we keep these things on a good basis, and we need to be the breath of calm. So study your scripts as educational materials, then have confident conversations with people. Daryl Davis always says, be a coach to your clients. We don't have to sell them, we need to coach them. I think that there's two-way streets. He talks about coaching them. I think you need to coach them, but you're also salespeople. That's why we're in this role. So when you're going through with them, here's what you said you wanted. Sometimes you have to, when you're in a listing on a property, go, hey, I just thought this was everything you wanted. Do we need to add something to this list or subtract it? Because we're here. Is there some reason we're not going to offer on this home? Don't you see your furniture fitting in this home? Could you raise your family in this home? Is this close to the kids' school? You need to know the various things that they're looking for, and then we push those buttons, right? You're close to your kids. Yeah, okay. Or they're selling, yeah, because you want to be closer to the grandbabies. We can get you there, but man, this price isn't going to get it done. I'm sorry, I thought it was solid when we did it, but the market's changed, and my crystal ball's been broken a long time. And when the market moves up or down, we can chase it. But right now, we need to get ahead of the 8 ball, right? Okay. So don't frustrate yourselves. To connect with buyers and sellers, you need to know what you're doing. That's what we were just talking about, right? So you need to be able to share these items. You need to know your trade, know your craft. You need to love what you're doing. If you don't, you're in the wrong career field. It's simple. It's no accident when these things happen. It's hard work, perseverance. You sacrifice things sometimes. But don't sacrifice time with your family, because this business is about relationships, and all of our relationships matter. So be able to share these items. Know your value proposition. Why should they go with you? If somebody asks you that, you need to be able to answer it. And you can go through what we have laid out in our office. Even Jess or Leah calls it ARMY. What's ARMY stand for? Your lifestyle. It's on the wall. Yep. So you can just use that if you want to. But oftentimes, it's one of those things that I know the waterways. I boat here all the time. Let me take you out to a restaurant on the boat and get a feel for this. People get out on a boat and they're like, "Oh man, that's what I've always wanted." Right. And even if your boat's old, say, "Hey, I wish I could afford a new boat, but here I am." And I'm smart enough to not put all my money into a depreciating asset. So things to talk about with people. Get them pre-approved. Why? Because you want the guaranteed accuracy, and your lender teammates who you're going to refer them to, not just somebody that you meet and does something nice for you. It needs to be somebody that's proven themselves. The longer you're in this business, the less you want to try new people. My opinion is, with lending, it's important to work with the folks you've worked with for years. Honor them. They've taken care of you. If they have, if they haven't, time to sidestep them and try somebody else. All right. So good things to know. And of course, look at your buyer's guide. More financing options. They need to know, and you need to know about them, or you're going to lose some buyers. From credit scores to how much down payment to closing costs to mortgage qualifications to how long have they been in their employment? They've only been in it for a year. That makes it tough. Wait a minute, was your last job in the same type of work? Yes. Okay. How long? Good, because those things they'll convey, and they'll come over, and the lender will look at it as a package if it's in the same field of work. Now, if they go from construction to real estate, no, they're not going to qualify for a loan within the first year. Within 2 years, yes. Making an offer, process, determining the offer, presenting, accept, reject, counter. You need to know the process. Guidelines when in a loan process, same thing. And if you don't know them, talk to your lender. The lenders that you work with will send you over what they look for. It's helpful. And we have a bunch of those kind of things, of course, in app files in our office too. Inspector. Again, don't just jump on any inspector that you've met somewhere that was very nice, and your wife and their wife decided you guys should have dinner, and they just got into this career field because fact of the matter is, much as you like them, they may kill your deal, and it's brutal. So you want folks that make it easier to work with and to negotiate. So it's good. So you don't. It's terrible when you feel like you let them hit you in the face after your buyers or sellers closed, and it's brutal. We want to make sure we work with folks that know how to lay things out. We want them to pick everything, but we want them to be really clear about these are the important items. These are safety issues. These should be done. Oh, by the way, this wasn't required at the year this house was built. That means the seller doesn't have to do that. They don't have to bring up those GFCI outlets to current code. Current code doesn't apply to that age house, right? So we need to know the way these things work. So you have to evaluate your own delivery methodology, approach, message, all of these things. And you need to know your lenders, the way they do it, your inspectors, the way they do it, and be comfortable and confident in them, right? So the process. I think it's important that we can just kind of rattle through this. Yeah, if you just rattle through it, you may miss a couple things, but fact of the matter is, off the top of your head, you should be able to say, hey, the first thing is you need to find me. What? Yeah, a realtor you can trust that's going to sit down with you and analyze your needs and really have a good consultation with you. Then we're going to help you obtain pre-quals, select properties, view properties, write an offer, negotiate that offer. You need somebody you know that can negotiate. That's me, by the way. Then we get you into an accepted contract. When you have an accepted contract, there's two things that tie off at the same time. You've got your inspections, and which is removal of contingencies, and you have the completing the mortgage application. Both run at the same time. If you don't do those at the same time, you're in trouble because, oh, I had 14, 15 days sometimes for our inspections, and I did my mortgage application, but I didn't really follow up with the lender, and I just did. And the lender told me it's going to be 30 days to get this done. Yeah, if it's with your lender, as soon as you get them in contract, you shoot the details over to them, right? You want to know that they have everything. And then they have to get their credit report and appraisals done and all of these things. With appraisals, let's go there. If you're a listing agent or a buyer's agent, you only tell the appraiser where the house is. If you know of current updates that have been done to the house, nothing else. You've had it inspected? Great. What's wrong with the house? I don't know. We had it professionally inspected. That's it. Because you start telling them more and it can cause problems with your loan. Same thing with the lender. What do you tell them? Exactly what they asked for. Exactly what they ask for with both of them. Exactly what they're asking for, exactly what they're asking for. So you don't hit this one. And you want to get the conditions and approval. So it's funny, though this one confuses people. I secured my underwriting. I got a loan approval. Is the loan approval with conditions? Well, yes. Well, then we need to satisfy those conditions as quickly as we can. Let's keep this thing moving because we want to get to the loan approval so we can get it clear to close. That's what we're after, right? And we want to get them in their property. That's the whole thing. So, I mean, it's important to be able to write this out on a napkin to somebody when you're having a cup of coffee, or at least get the basics of this. And the more you do it, even by yourself, the more it'll just come out of your head. And the more transactions we do, the more it comes out of your head anyway, because you're going, oh yeah, I remember that one. That was a fiasco, you know, or it went perfectly. And here's why. Those are good things to know. So 5 steps to transformation. That value proposition, don't forget it. Come up with every challenging question that you may be asked. And guys, this is so important. When you have a listing appointment, have a list of questions that every seller should ask their listing agent. You know the answers to all of those because you wrote it. But you leave it with them because if they're going to interview anybody else, hey, I understand a lot of people like to interview other people unless you want to just sign today, which is great. Let's get this thing moving. You hold this thing back here. And if they sign, great. If they don't, hey, I understand. Well, just if you interview other agents, please ask them these questions. Make sure they know what they're doing. It's so important. And people will come in, it's not their questions, they'll flounder. Some people will be able to answer them. More power to them. But there are more than enough that will go in there and go, you know, I don't know. So, life effectiveness training, which is overcoming objections. Know your next steps. Evaluate your delivery. So, have your spouse or somebody listen to you and evaluate your delivery. This doesn't mean evaluate it yourself. Even though, with our current abilities with our cell phones, why not record yourself? Record yourself, watch yourself. Would you work with you? Important things to know. Create and design ways to capture your competitors' leads. This is another good one. Because I mean, if you can come up with something special, like, hey, I've sold 20 houses in this community now. I know this community inside and out. I love this community, and I look forward to the opportunity to interview with you. That might just be a short postcard, or you might put it on a door hanger. But you've got to connect with people. And I say it all the time, but I still believe in the hi. If you talk to people, you'll win them. But it takes everything, right? So you need to do that. You need to do your social media marketing. You need to do all of the marketing. If you tell people that you've got a listing with that you're going to do a postcard, you do a postcard. And if you do a postcard, it's the perfect time to go around the neighborhood right after that thing gets delivered and say, hey, I was just checking to see if my postcards were effective. Did you get it? Most people are at the curb or at their trash can going, nope, 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 nope. And that's fine until they need an agent. And then they might go, huh, look at that. And that's the only time it's going to be effective, okay? So, flowing with our app files, documentation, training, scripts, everything, you need to look at it, and you need to be sure you've looked at our website as well. Guys, know where to send people. Yeah, it was down for a blink. I heard that. So it's important when you see things like that, let us know. We get them fixed right away. We try to look at it all the time. Sometimes we can't. So change your paradigm. What's the model? Are you visualizing your big picture, your wildly impossible goal? Your subconscious mind's affected by that visualization. This is important because it even keeps you on track while you sleep. It's so interesting. I mean, if you go to sleep arguing with your spouse, I'll take it to that one. You'll wake up in the morning, you might be grumpy. I believe in the scriptures that say, don't go to sleep that way. Don't go to sleep angry. And so apologize and get a good night's rest and remind yourself why you fell in love with that person. Your mind will shape that again for you as you sleep. You need to be motivated to pay the price, get into action, stay on task, press on, study, think, plan. This is life. That's not just real estate. That's everything we do. So get up every day looking forward to the task at hand. In my opinion, I thank the Lord for the new day and look forward to how He's going to direct my paths. If you're personally feeling like you fail every day, be resolved to continue to pursue others to bless them, and the rest will come. Press on, be focused. And also, if you feel like you're failing every day, it's not a bad idea to speak to a counselor because it's not true. None of us fail every day in everything. It's just not possible. So it's a job, but it becomes fun when you're enthusiastic. Your desire turns out to be a burning desire to reach that vision. This is the 4 Principles of Execution. It's a great book. Check it out. I hope this helped, and I hope everybody has a great day. Let's go sell.